Hello and welcome to Friday. Today's our grammar day, our third day in week 10. So on Monday, we looked at the letters of Genesis 15, 15 and 16. And then on Wednesday, we had a podcast on the fall. And today we're going to look at the grammar of Genesis 3, 15 and 16. I think next week we're going to look at sin in the Old Testament, probably doing a couple verses from Numbers chapter 15. So that's next week, Lord willing. But for this week, let's look at Genesis chapter 3, verses 15 and 16 from a grammatical standpoint. So right now you're looking at Genesis 3:15 in Hebrew, Va'eva, Ashit, Be'naka, and so forth. But what does it mean? Well, let's divide it up. So Va'eva, we by now know Vav is an and, or we could argue, I suppose, for a but here because it's not on a verb, and so it could be disjunctive. But enmity, or enmity or hatred. So God is talking to the serpent and either describing or assigning punishment or consequence. Probably assigning punishment. So and enmity or an hatred, I will put. So this is an imperfect because it has a performative on the front. The aleph is the I. It indicates first common singular. So it doesn't really detach like this, but so that you can see the meaning bits. Sheet means to put. It's a weak verb, so it has kind of the middle consonant. The yod is weak, but so I will put. Kind of your beginning Hebrew translation of the imperfect is to make it future. That's not at all a guarantee. It's really more about incompleteness, but the future is incomplete, right? So, and I will put hatred, Beinaka, between you. So we have Bain, which is between, and then the ka is a second masculine singular you. So calling the snake a guy, and so I assume the word for snake is masculine. But between you, I'm going to put hatred between you, snake, and uvain, and between and between. We don't do that in English. We don't say between and between. We just say, we say between this and this. So I will put hatred between you and the woman, the isha. Ha is the word for the. Normally it would be hey patak doubling, but alephs don't do doubling. It's in their contract. Hey, I don't do doubling. And so he took a dagish gun, tried to shoot it into the aleph to put a dagish there, but it ricocheted off, and this became a long A instead of a short patak. It became a long kamatz, a long A, an A with a long mark over it. So, and I will put hatred between you and the woman, Eve, in other words, and uvain, and between seed your, so the seed of the snake. So there's the your again, and zara, okay, zara means seed, okay, and between your seed and between seed her. Kamatz hay with a mapik in it. This is a real hay. So these other hays come off. These are fake hays. They're vowel hays. But with a mapik in it, this indicates that this is a real hay. And in particular, it's the way to say her as a possessive. So her seed. So your seed, second masculine singular, you snake, and her seed, third feminine singular, referring to the seed of Eve. So snakes and people aren't going to get along, basically. Who is he? Remember? So he, no and. That's noticeable in Hebrew because Hebrew has ands all over the place. No and. He will bruise. So shuf is to bruise. And with a performative on the front, just like this one, this is an imperfect verb. The yod indicates a third masculine singular subject. So he will bruise you. This is the you again. Here it's an object marker. Here it's a possessive, your seed. Here it's an object. He will bruise you. So Hebrew is very flexible in the way it does that sort of thing. So he doesn't need to be here, so it's for emphasis. That guy, the seed of the woman, he will bruise you. He will bruise you on the head, rosh. So human beings are going to stomp on snakes. Normally I would use a shovel, or even better yet, a car, just run over that sucker. I have been known to run over snakes with my bike when I was a boy. But anyway, he will bruise you on the head. And you, ata, is the word for you. You will bruise him. So there's a tav on the front, just like the yod on the top, on the front, or an aleph on the front. That indicates a imperfect tense. I think, let's see, which one is this? So he will bruise your head, you on the head, and you. Okay, so this is second masculine singular, and that's where the tav comes from. So, and you, again, emphasis, it's not needed because the verb implies you. He will bruise your head, and you will bruise him on the heel, a kef. So this is the sharuk is the him. This is a nun. I think it's called a nun energicum. It basically means an energizing nun. It means nothing. It's just a nun that kind of is there for, I don't know why it's there. Let's make it sound good. Anyway, it's completely meaningless, the nun, I believe. So it's you'll bruise him on the heel. Okay, we made it through Genesis 3:15. Second verse for today, Genesis 3:16. Here's the Hebrew in normal form. And now let's divide, put a space between the firmament, between the waters and the waters, and create a firmament of Hebrew. There it is. Okay, so now to the woman. Now this is again interesting. There's no and. Typically there'd be an and there. It's striking to me that there's no and. So to the woman. Again, El means to, accent clouding our vision. Ha is the. Normally it would be haptak doubling, but the aleph doesn't do doubling, so we get compensatory lengthening. To the woman, the isha. To the woman he said, this is a perfect, there's nothing on the front. If it had additional, if it was like I said or whatever, then the perfect puts endings on the end. This is just the basic vocabulary form, dictionary form, of which the dictionary puts the perfect in it. That's the tense, what you see, that you see in the dictionary. Okay, so, and to the woman he said, now, this hey is not an article. Could have been, but we have a verbal situation here. This is, this hey indicates the hifil stem or the H stem. It's a causative stem. And Rav, see Rav has a sense of abundance, of many. So it's to multiply. It's an infinitive construct is what it is, I believe. Could be an infinitive absolute, actually, now that I think of it. And I should know these things, so let me do my I dream of Jeannie moment here, and I will have a definitive answer. I told you it was an infinitive absolute. Anyway, yes, in this construction, multiplying, I will multiply. That's a kind of a Hebrew thing. I will greatly multiply, in other words. This is an infinitive absolute in this particular. I was thrown off a little bit for a second there because the infinitive construct is the infinitive that can put prefixes and suffixes. But this isn't really a prefix. This is an H stem marker. It's the infinitive absolute. So in this construction, multiplying, I will multiply, an infinitive absolute is what is typically used. Okay, so multiplying, I will multiply. So the aleph here indicates the I of the imperfect. It's on the front. I will multiply. Multiplying, I will multiply your pain and your conception. So again, the yours is this is a second. This is a second feminine singular with the Shava in it, and so it's your pain and your conception. So basically, one consequence of the sin of the garden is that women will have painful childbirth. Okay, so in that pain, these are different words for something bad. in pain you will conceive. The tav on the front with a hirik yod on the end is the second feminine singular. So that's why the hirik yod's on it. It's not just you, a man, but it's you, a woman. And the word here is yeled or yalad. Where did the yod go? The yod has gone away because that's first yods sometimes do that when the first consonant of the word is a yod. So, oh where has the yodi gone? Yoda is gone. He's dead. Anyway, so in pain you will conceive banim, children. Okay? And to, okay, so this is painful childbirth. And now the last line, and to your husband, to your ish. Isha, woman. Ish, man. And to your husband is, there's an implied is here, your desire. Here's a big word. The core consonants would seem to be tav, sheen, kof. It stuck a vowel in after the third one, after the second consonant, and then a tav because it's feminine word, I think. So anyway, it's your desire. Your, that's the kaf there is the your. So, and this is desire. So, and to your husband will be your desire. But if this is a contrasting, but he, who is he, will rule. Yod is third masculine singular performative for the imperfect. He will rule, mashal, bak, over you. So this is the bait, over, and this is the feminine you. Okay. So this here is, of course, a line of great interest in interpretation. It's not entirely clear to me what it means. It does seem very similar in structure to the statement to Cain. You know, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you must master it. And so it may imply a conflict between the woman and the man that wasn't there before. And so your husband will be your desire. So you will desire to master your husband, but he's going to win out. Now, this is not an absolute, but it may be implying that where the relationships between husband and wife were harmonious before, now there's going to be this conflict between the wife and the husband, between the woman and the man, and he's going to be not always. And by the way, I certainly, in a Christian context, don't take this as a way it should be. But he's going to win out. He's going to master you. He's going to dominate you. That's going to be a consequence. Now, again, I think it would be perverse to say, and therefore go dominate your wives. This is a fallen situation, right? A situation where they're in conflict and in tension and fighting with each other, and he is dominating. That's not the ideal situation. That's not the redeemed situation. That is the fallen situation. That is the undesirable situation. Well, this has been Genesis 3, 15, and 16 in Hebrew with a special look at the grammar.